A hush fell over the set of Live with Kelly and Mark this week as Ripa opened her heart in an emotional, unfiltered interview that left fans shaken and deeply moved. For years, the couple has shared their laughter, their marriage stories, and their on-screen chemistry. But this time, what unfolded was far from the usual light-hearted banter. It was raw, painful, human, and it centered on one of the darkest chapters of their lives, Mark Consuelos' terrifying fight for survival. Kelly's voice trembled as she began recounting the ordeal. Her usual bright smile faded as memories of sleepless nights, frantic phone calls, and unbearable uncertainty came rushing back. "There was a point," she said quietly, "when I didn't know if he was going to make it. You can prepare for a lot in life, but not that." For decades, Ripa and Mark Consuelos have been a symbol of enduring love in Hollywood. A couple who weathered fame, work, and family without losing their spark. But behind the scenes, their journey hasn't always been picture-perfect. During this recent interview, Kelly revealed for the first time that Mark had faced a serious health scare that nearly claimed his life. It was something they had kept private, choosing to protect their children and focus on Mark's recovery. Now, with the storm behind them, Kelly was ready to speak. She described the moment everything changed. It began as what seemed like a routine checkup. Mark had been feeling off for weeks, tired, lightheaded, and unusually short of breath. He brushed it off as exhaustion from his demanding filming schedule, but Kelly noticed something was wrong. "He's the kind of man who never complains," she explained. "If he says he's fine, he's probably hurting." But this time there was something different in his eyes. That something different soon became undeniable. One evening after dinner with friends, Mark felt dizzy and collapsed at home. Kelly, panicked, called for help. "I just remember screaming his name over and over," she said, tears filling her eyes. It was like the world stopped spinning. Mark was rushed to the hospital, where doctors discovered a serious cardiac issue that required immediate intervention. The days that followed were a blur for Kelly. "You go into autopilot," she said. "You're trying to stay strong for your kids, trying to keep it together, but inside you're breaking." While she didn't go into medical details, Kelly shared that Mark's condition had been life-threatening. For days, the family hovered between hope and despair, praying for good news. Friends and loved ones offered support quietly, respecting their privacy, while Kelly kept showing up to work, smiling for the cameras while her world was falling apart behind the scenes. "I'd come home from the show, take off my makeup, and just sit by his bed," she recalled. "He'd squeeze my hand and I'd whisper, 'You're going to get through this.' I didn't believe it half the time, but I needed him to." Fans watching the interview could see the depth of emotion in her every word. This wasn't the polished TV host people were used to. It was a woman who had stared down fear and loss and come out changed. Mark's recovery was slow but steady. Kelly described the turning point as the morning he smiled again. That was when she knew he was still fighting. "He looked at me and said, 'You didn't give up on me.' That's when I finally cried. All those tears I've been holding back, they just came." The couple's journey through that dark time strengthened their bond in ways neither expected. Kelly admitted that the experience changed her outlook on everything. Fame, success, even time itself. "You think you have forever," she said softly. "You plan vacations, you talk about the future, and then suddenly you're reminded that nothing is promised. Every moment becomes sacred." For Mark, surviving wasn't just about getting better physically. It was about rediscovering life. He started doing things differently, Kelly revealed. He began meditating, taking long walks, calling old friends, even cooking. He found peace in the little things. Kelly's vulnerability during the interview struck a chord with fans. Social media erupted with messages of love, support, and shared experiences from people who had faced similar battles. One viewer wrote, "I've never seen Kelly so real. It made me appreciate my own loved ones more." Another commented, "Their love story is beautiful, but this reminded me that it's also human, imperfect, painful, and real." As the interview continued, Kelly also reflected on the toll the ordeal took on their children, Michael, Lola, and Joaquin. She spoke tenderly about how each of them reacted differently, trying to stay strong for their parents while processing their own fears. "You realize how resilient kids can be," she said. "But no mother wants her children to see that kind of fear in her eyes." When asked what kept her going during the hardest nights, Kelly didn't hesitate. Faith, she said simply. And love. You hold on to whatever gives you hope. I'd talk to God even when I was angry. I'd say, please don't take him from me. Not yet. After weeks of uncertainty, Mark finally began to stabilize. Kelly remembered the moment doctors told her he was out of danger. I just broke down, she said. There was relief, gratitude, and exhaustion all at once. I don't think I've ever cried so hard in my life. The months following Mark's recovery were a time of quiet healing for the couple. They took time off, retreated from the public eye, and focused on being present with each other. Kelly recalled their first walk together after his release from the hospital. He held my hand and I remember thinking this is what matters. Not the fame, not the career, just this moment. Mark, who later joined Kelly on air to speak about his experience, expressed his own gratitude. She saved my life, he said simply. If Kelly hadn't pushed me to get checked, I might not be here. His words left Kelly visibly emotional again, her eyes glistening with tears. Throughout the interview, it was clear that what they endured reshaped not only their relationship, but also their perspective on fame and purpose. Kelly confessed that she now views her platform differently, as a way to remind people to prioritize health and cherish their loved ones. If our story makes one person go to the doctor, or hold their spouse a little tighter tonight, then sharing this pain was worth it. The honesty of her words lingered long after the segment ended. Fans who have followed Kelly and Mark for years saw a different side of them, stripped of glamour, shining instead with authenticity and love. Their story wasn't about celebrity resilience. It was about human survival. Behind the laughter that fills live with Kelly and Mark, there now lies a deeper understanding of fragility. Kelly admitted that she doesn't take even the smallest things for granted anymore. Every morning I wake up next to him feels like a gift, she said. And every I love you feels heavier, more real. For many, the emotional interview was a reminder of why audiences have always connected with Kelly Ripa. Not because she's flawless, but because she's genuine. Her strength, humor, and heart have long been the soul of morning television. But this moment showed a different kind of courage, the kind that comes from vulnerability. In closing, Kelly shared a message that seemed to resonate with everyone watching. Life doesn't give you warnings. It just changes. One minute you're laughing over dinner, and the next you're praying in a hospital room. Love hard, forgive quickly, and don't wait to say how you feel. As the studio lights dimmed, the audience rose in quiet applause. There were no jokes, no punchlines, just gratitude and reflection. Kelly Ripa's voice, once trembling, now carried strength again. She smiled softly and looked toward where Mark sat off camera, his familiar grin returning the gesture. What they endured would forever be part of their story. A scar that turned into a symbol of endurance, love, and the will to keep going. For the millions who tuned in, it was more than just television. It was a moment of truth, the kind that reminds us that behind every smile, there's a story, and behind every story, a fight to survive.